It's only natural to feel some type of way when someone comes in and takes your spot. It would definitely sting to be in a situation like that. So today, we're gonna be going through some NBA examples of when sidekicks eventually stole the shine away from the star. Whether it be for just a brief moment of time or permanently. Enjoy the video. Every NBA fanbase at one point in time had a player who they absolutely adored. In their eyes, nobody could take their place. But unfortunately, that's exactly what happened to Monte Ellis. He was extremely popular amongst the Golden State fans and was a huge part of the We Believe Warriors, the team who knocked out the #1 seed Mavericks in the first round of the 2007 NBA playoffs as an 8 seed. And combine that with Ellis winning the Most Improved Player award that same season, you got yourself a fan favorite. It looked like the team belonged to him until they acquired someone in the 2009 draft who looked like he was 12 years old or something. They took Steph Curry 7th overall, and at that time was a very confusing decision on their part because they already had Monte. During a 2009 interview after they drafted Curry, Monte Ellis said that he had some serious doubts that things would work out with him and Steph. He had no desire to play alongside the kid at all and didn't want to share the spotlight.
With Baron Davis and Derek Fisher, you know what I mean? They ain't come in and butter me up, pat me on my back, nothing. It's basketball. It's serious. That's what we do. We compete.
I mean, when you say things like this, it wasn't really surprising that he was resistant and unaccepting at first.
Be honest, I would put myself in the same category as D-Wade. Monte Ellis have it all.
Eventually, after the initial drama, they decided to coexist with one another and give it a shot. But with them being an undersized duo in the backcourt, they hardly found any success. So after about 2.5 seasons, the Warriors had a very important decision to make, either Monte Ellis or Steph Curry, ultimately choosing to hand the keys over to Steph, while shipping Monte to Milwaukee in 2012 in exchange for Andrew Bogut. They believed at that stage Curry had more potential and wanted the ball primarily in his hands going forward. They went all in on Steph, even despite his ankle problems. The team felt they needed a fresh start, but the fans were not particularly happy when they first heard the news. In fact, when Chris Mullin had his jersey retirement around that same time, the fans saw that as the perfect opportunity to express their feelings by booing the owner Joe Lacob. Now, you would think that Ellis handled the situation poorly, but in reality, he was pretty mature about the whole thing and actually went out of his way to call Steph afterwards and basically said, "Don't worry about what others are saying, it's your team now." Jerry West said that even though the fans were very sad to see Ellis go, he just thought that they were not a good pair together and believed that if they had held on to Ellis instead, then we would never have seen the Curry that he is today. It's clear that Golden State made the right choice, as Klay Thompson took over his spot and never looked back ever since.
Steph, how do you decide on the Ellis jersey tonight?
A lot of history that Monte was able to be a part of with the We Believe era, and then when I got here my rookie year, he was that guy.
Throughout the better part of a decade, LaMarcus Aldridge was the man in Portland. Many players came and went, but Aldridge managed to stay put for a while. He enjoyed being the Blazers' franchise player until someone threatened his position as top dog. When Damian Lillard arrived there in Portland, it was evidently clear that he was something special. He immediately became a rising star straight from the jump, even managing to impress the late great Kobe Bryant.
Damian Lillard certainly didn't look like a rookie tonight. You had to find an answer for him. He did late, but what do you think about his game?
I mean, that boy is serious, man. He's serious, and he's not afraid of anything.
Now, Aldridge was still seen as the face of the franchise, but even he himself could sense that Dame was quickly climbing his way up.
Thanks a lot, bye.
These two guys were a great fit together, and as a result, saw consistent success. They were able to produce back-to-back 50-win seasons during their time playing together. They definitely had a good thing going on in Portland, but as time went on, their relationship was was rapidly going downhill. Dame tried not to overstep his boundaries and said that he wasn't even trying to be the star of the team, but it just so happened that things were trending in that direction, and LaMarcus began to become frustrated that his role on the team was diminishing before his very eyes. Dame said that he expected a veteran like Aldridge to take him under his wing when he got drafted and wanted him to provide some guidance, but instead he just didn't really talk to him that much, giving him the cold shoulder. Dame could sense that something wasn't quite right. Eventually, it was said that all the love that Lillard was receiving played a big role in Aldridge's decision to sign with San Antonio in 2015. In fact, it was rumored that he actually requested a trade 2 years earlier in 2013, pretty much after Dame won Rookie of the Year. But those talks never came to fruition. Fast forwarding to nowadays, LaMarcus says that he deeply regrets the way he handled their breakup, and actually hinted at a possible return in the near future, as he expressed that he wishes to finish out his career in a Portland uniform. He says their relationship is much better now, but it's sad that things didn't work out when they played together. When Carmelo Anthony was finally able to fulfill his ultimate dream of playing for the New York Knicks, he was just overall extremely happy. Nothing could beat playing in front of his hometown in the Garden. He was the lone superstar in New York, and certainly wanted to keep it that way, but he wasn't too happy when Jeremy Lin suddenly blew up and took over, as Linsanity captivated the basketball world. When Melo was momentarily injured, the Knicks were ballin', mainly due to Lin's spectacular play, and it looked like Carmelo's ego had a hard time accepting it. In his head, he wasn't all that impressed. I mean, even Kobe made sure not to quickly jump to conclusions.
Are you surprised at the production that Lin's had over the past week?
I don't even know what he's done. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Who is this kid? Yeah, I've heard about him, stuff like that, but I don't know what he's been doing.
Would you consider guarding him if he's having one of those games?
Jesus Christ.
The players had a much more difficult time giving him props than the fans did. Melo was on the same team as Lin, witnessing him getting a lot of love and attention, so I would imagine it was an even tougher pill to swallow for him. Melo was reportedly jealous of his rise to fame. It was said when Anthony came back from injury, he refused to play within an offense that catered to Lin. He preferred the offense to run through him. He began pouting during practices, putting out little to no effort at all, and would sometimes not even join in on D'Antoni's huddles. Basically, Carmelo didn't respect Jeremy enough to take a back seat. He couldn't stand the idea of him running the show. It was reported that Melo threatened to leave if D'Antoni was going to remain the coach, as he felt that he heavily favored Lin. Behind the scenes, it was rumored that someone informed James Dolan that Melo wasn't pleased with the direction things were going, and eventually the drama became too much for Mike D'Antoni, who just decided to go ahead and resign as the head coach. When Jeremy Lin's time was up, they could have easily re-signed him that offseason, but the Knicks didn't feel like dealing with the future headaches that they feared would come along with that. So it looks like Anthony killed two birds with one stone and ran both of them out of town. Once upon a time, Danny Granger was viewed as one of the league's best players. In 2009, he was named an All-Star as well as the most improved player. But after that year, he began running into some injuries, and before you knew it, his absence allowed another player who was built very similarly to step in and take the reins. Paul George at that point was better and younger, and was a huge reason why Indiana became the best defensive team in the league. George became their new leading scorer, while Granger was now the sidekick, as his body was never the same, and had no other choice but to pass the mantle to PG, which was surprisingly perfectly fine with him. He and PG were actually pretty close. In fact, PG used to be Granger's workout partner before PG was even drafted, and when President Larry Bird called Granger before the 2010 draft to get his opinion on things, he actually approved of the idea of drafting George. The Pacers could have chose any player to represent their team at the 2010 NBA Draft Lottery, but Danny Granger wanted to be there. He insisted on attending the lottery. But little did he know, the player they would wind up taking in that draft would soon go on to replace him. Alright guys, those were the examples that came to my mind of players overshadowing and I guess you could say replacing another particular player. Feel free to let me know some other duos where someone had to move over and involuntarily take a back seat. Make sure to comment down below and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.